same application. There is a material change, but I would propose that given what we have now before us, that we recommend refusing based on no additional fees about the local plan has now been launched in the Friday and Land Supply. The significance of setting on the AMB, this application is definitely necessary.
And it's been reduced by the inspector. So you're proposing that, I'll second it. So can I say?
Is everyone in favour of that? Yeah, is everyone in favour of that refusal? Has everybody else got anything else they want to say? No, so can I have a show of hands?
Okay. So we move on.
And then we want to place them.
Well, so recommendations from the planning committee, there are no recommendations. Right, we'll do placing now. I'm going to ask you to kick it off, Councillor Morris. I know there's can I call you Steve?
No, it's got to be Councillor Morris.
Oh, it's Paul.
Right. No, you can be Steve. Don't call him like the dinner.
Can I just take it as read that we would all emotionally like to support it, that we are aware that the Parish Council has supported it in the past when it was run by Janetta and Tom. But we have a changed situation now. The March meeting asked 3 members of the council, Councillors Morris, Kay and Williams, to build a case, to build a costed project. We've had quite a lot of exchanges of emails on this subject, which you've all been party to, you've seen, with the exception of, can I call you Frederick? Without Frederick. So I assume that you've read them and you've seen the points. Can I now throw it open? Do you want to introduce it, Stephen? Just bear in mind, we're interested in this year the management of the play scheme and its cost.
Okay. It's obviously the staff have come forward with a proposal to run play scheme for the Parish Council. It's unusual to actually have a situation where the staff actually come forward with an idea to say, let's keep this running. And they have sort of, with all the exchanges of emails, you've seen what the rough costs are. The one thing that we can't control is obviously the income. Nobody can predict how many children are going to come through. It could be 40, it could be 30, it could be 50 per session. And that is the bit which is the stumbling block I see for this Parish Council, because if you knew the income, then you'd be able to say whether you could keep within the £500 budget that was set at the beginning of this year by the F&GP committee. I had a look at the figures again, and what was sort of quite interesting, obviously last year it cost us £400 to run the scheme. The previous year to that, under the same management, it was £1,200 to run the scheme. So it shows the volatile nature of some years it can be more, some years it can be less. But at the end of the day, this is a service that is provided. It's not like an entity where you say it's going to cost this much as a tender beforehand. You do not know until you start from day one play scheme. Most of the costs are now there and costed, whether it's the staff. The staff is a little bit flexible because if you have more children register, you need more staff. You have to find where they are. If more older children register and yet not so many younger children, again your staff ratio decreases. So again, it's a flexible nature. Until you go out there and actually advertise the scheme and get register of interest, you're not going to know what the fixed rate is for the staff. So We've all been through all the email exchanges, but as for the technical capabilities, I have full faith in our staff being able to produce this scheme for us. All the policies are there in place. It's disappointing we will not get a grant from NBC. I've been on to them this morning, I've chatted to them, and no, we will not. We have missed the deadline.
So I had a conversation this afternoon.
Did you? I had the same conversation
With Yasmin.
with Yasmin.
I didn't tell you she's spoken to you. I spoke to her midday.
I spoke to her this afternoon.
Oh, right. Because she said that she was going to see if there was any wiggle room.
There is no wiggle room. So that might have a bearing on what councillors decide today. But it's just that some years is more on cost, some years is less. So it is the risk that you take as a parish council. It's not a complete blank cheque as it was described by some councillors, because your expenditure would only go up to the number of staff you've got in the hall. As soon as the first child comes through, you're decreasing from that. So it is down to councillors. Is there any other questions I can actually answer from councillors?
The short form, the one that's come from the council.
Yes. It is a council delivered scheme. Yeah. You're providing the service.
Does anybody else want to make a contribution to this?
I think it's unfortunate that we've come to this so late. My own personal view as a resident, albeit vicarious in terms of parenting, mine's all done and dusted. But I think that play schemes are essential, and we should do our very best to lean over backwards to accommodate this. It may be impossible, but I think we should really try.
That was the point of adopting the committee in March, so that we have a proposal, written proposal, costed, which we haven't got. So I'm not sure when I come into this debate, but I've been in communication a lot, and even offered to get involved in it with you, albeit late, and I didn't get a response to that. I haven't seen anything that you've described. I haven't seen a costed proposal from the committee. I haven't seen the management proposal, how it's going to be run from this parish council. Somebody in this parish council must take the responsibility for making sure it keeps on the track, in my humble opinion. From the information that I've been fed, and I've been fed no better information since, in an email to everybody, I assumed that the income will be the same as last year. I think you can make that assumption. At least it gives you an idea of the possible cost to this parish council at a given number, at a given figure. That given figure would require the same number of people, I assume, as last year. So I've costed it on the same number of people as last year. The income, which I accept can be variable, is 1,950 in my assumption. Okay? The probable expenditure, that is the same wages bill as last year, upped by the minimum wage. The living wage. There is the living wage, and that comes to 4,700, including the whole, for 10 days, not the 8 days that Amanda this evening sent an email saying it might be. See, it's all over the place, Stephen.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm the one that coined the phrase a blank cheque, because I think that's what's being asked for. And at this point, I'd worked out that if the income is 2,000, probable expenditure without putting the rinky-dink stuff in, like trips out and tuck or whatever, because that should be self-financing. The possible deficit at this stage we're facing is 2,700, call it 2,500. It's in that order. It's the budget that we all agreed to, and several times I asked, are we happy with that budget? Are we happy with that budget? And so at around 2,700, this committee have got to decide that against a budget of 500, all we have is the figures that I've said. We haven't had anything from anybody else.
In your figures, though, there was about £500 extra for clearing away that wasn't allocated, wasn't it?
Well, that's something that would have been useful to talk about, because it would seem that the clearing away is a big issue, and we did have an estimate on that.
But that's what you've allowed for in your figures.
Of course, I have an estimate of that from Janetta, and let me say, this has never been challenged. This is, my thing was there to challenge, and it wasn't.
It was clearly put in both statements to you. I've got dates in front of me, but it was clearly put in two statements. The staff did not feel this was an issue.
Well, they may not feel it's an issue, but presumably they would want to be paid for the extra time it takes to clear up.
They had to clear the main hall anyway.
Well,
every time they had to
you
clear
see,
the main hall. What we was looking at was the extra for the booth hall.
well, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever. There was nothing that came to me. Quite frankly, it's very late. It's very late to start throwing numbers about.
Okay. No, you're throwing numbers tonight, Gary.
No, I'm repeating the numbers that I sent to everybody on this committee a couple of weeks back.
Right.
So I'm just repeating those numbers. So, okay, sorry.
Just obviously, I'm not going to vote on this, just as a point of information. Within our cash book thing that we received, obviously the budget for the postman is set at 3,200.
I'm sorry. That's the income.
These figures.
The expenditure is 3,700. Mike's put those numbers in. He and I have got a bit of a debate going about the way we show this stuff. I think it would be better on one page so we see what it is. But it's 500, it's the two figures.
Right. We're saying it would cost that, and this is how much we're budgeting. So
Mhm.
we're budgeting 500.
500 cost.
Thank you.
So, we can say, okay, £2,000 to £3,000 is the probable range of cost to the parish council.
I think that's getting to be exaggerated, again, from your figures.
They weren't challenged, and I think they're pretty good figures.
Right.
All I've done is take last year's income,
Yeah.
last year's labour hours, added a bit because I was asked to add a bit, or it was suggested that there was going to be more hours required, to arrive at a total wage bill for something like 4,000. Before I open it up.
So can I just ask Steve, are you saying that that extra £500-600 that Gary's added doesn't need to be added?
As far as the information I have been given, it doesn't need to be added.
Okay, instead of being 2,750, it's 2,250. I said the range is 2,000 to 3,000. That's what I've got in my mind as a cost. Because if we're not going to get a grant, I mean, if we get a grant, that's good. We can reduce it by 1,000. But you've been told
I've been told no.
no. So we're looking at
2,000.
a range of 2,000 to 3,000. That's the money side. The other things that need to be resolved is arguably, I believe a councillor should take responsibility. 1, 2 or 3 councillors should take responsibility for overseeing.
Historically, all councillors take responsibility on placing.
Of course, we all take
Each
responsibility.
Each morning,
Each morning, these 2 councils take the money.
and it's normally been carried around all councils. It's a parish council-led scheme.
And that did
Who shared
only
it last
change
year?
last year.
Who shared it last year?
Tom was there most of the time.
See, this is another
No,
surprise.
but that's
This is
not
another-
what's happened
I'm
in
going
previous, in previous years.
Historically.
There has always been
Since I've
two
been on
councillors
council.
that have come in every
What
year.
happens is about a month beforehand, I will send an email round saying I need 2 councillors for these dates, and then all the councillors with volunteers what mornings I can do to come in and help with the children coming in the morning. Because it needs 2 councillors there to take them on.
So who's really responsible for it?
It's parish council.
Yeah, I mean, that's a vague thing.
Not really.
That's to me, from the world I come from, that's a very vague thing.
That's
You know,
how-
to
that's how
me,
it's always worked
no.
until last year.
I think
You and, well, you had councillors assist you and Tom, who run it, okay? As parish councillors. Fine. That's what I'm looking for, that ingredient. Who takes prime responsibility?
and accountable.
Hmm?
And accountable.
And accountability.
Because it's all very well
Thank you.
2 parish councillors rocking up to assist, but it's something else entirely if they're involved in the management of the scheme.
Mm. So I think that's an unanswered question.
I think, can I just say that, because I was manager and parish councillor, that oversaw it.
Quite cloudy,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
So I believe that if the decision was taken to run it a councillor, yes, the parish council has got to take responsibility, but a councillor needs to be helping to manage it and lead that. Especially in terms of the money.
Do you volunteer to do that? Does anybody volunteer to do it?
If it means the scheme actually gets off the ground this year, I'll volunteer to do it. But normally it would be a collection of hospitality.
And I would still be looking to send my usual email around to
Yeah.
I don't think we would disagree with that. But it's somebody that is the rock, is the one that's going to make sure that the thing.
Is anchored to.
Good, thank you for helping me because I was trying to choose my words. Is anchored to the parish council. There's other things like DBS checks. Has that been?
There are existing staff, so they should all be in place.
Have you checked it? Because you said they should be in place.
2012.
I know, so they got to be done, but you do them through Kelly, that's why we're affiliated, isn't it? Kelly, that's why you're paying affiliation fee.
Does anybody want to ask any other or make any other points concerning the management? Are you comfortable with what's been said, or are there any other added points? PAY, are we okay with all of that? Right, that's no problem there.
Yeah, they go on the payroll and they're paid in the morning.
And they're only 2 week employees, aren't they? So,
There's a
So-
special little payroll section.
yes.
So do you want to go to
I was just
Well, I'm just
If you
going
want to-
through insurance.
scheme to
Yeah,
run?
have we got a problem with insurance, Mark?
No, it's parish
Okay.
council activity, so you should.
I did ask, and I will ask it, because we talked about it prior to all of this. Attendees come from Harrietsham and elsewhere. There is a case, I would suggest, for a premium, since we're possibly facing a big expenditure, a premium for people from outside of Harrietsham.
Can I have you to define that motion? Is that people that attend Harrietsham School but live outside the parish? Or is that people that live outside the parish, attend a different school? And a definition to that.
Would you like to give me one?
Can I-
Because you're cleverer than me.
No, you
My only concern with doing that this late in the day is that if you put the prices up, it might turn people off, which is then going to affect the figures attending, which brings you full circle. I think this late in the day, when we need to get those registration forms out, it's not the time to be changing the registration forms. I think this is a discussion for next year. That's my personal. I think we've got enough to contend with getting the scheme off the floor and without complicating further, just for this year. You can all disagree, but that's just my
Well,
No, we're
does
just-
anybody
we're
want to
going
make a
through
comment? Does anybody want to make to agree with that or disagree?
Well, I've got to applaud people who are coming up at such a date. But my main concern is the unknown expenditure on council. And that's an issue with me. Not knowing whether we're going to have to profit off by £2,500. This is the unknown that I'm uncomfortable with at this point.
Okay, well, look, hold that. What I'm trying to tease out is the management issues of this before trying to sum up, because I think we talked enough about the costs and your point is well taken. And I agree with you, the girls are here. But we have a responsibility to the precept payers, and we went into a budget with £500. So. Right. Any other points on the management? I think it's covered. Stephen, thank you for that volunteering. The 2 people to help out. I might have to change my holiday dates, but and I haven't been DOB'd or whatever it is.
You don't have to visit